Welcome to Center of Light tonight. The power of Christ compels you. As we descend into hell. I did last night. Maybe. We'll see what that's all about. Welcome to Center of Light. Tonight is Center of Light Realization. Woohoo! Hello. Aha, I get the joke now. Can we stop playing the game yet? Center of Light Realization. What the hell? I love it. What the hell? The all-seeing eye. Understand there is always a control narrative. There's always a control narrative until we get out of the control narrative. But for now, there's a control narrative. Hello, Dana Trotter, Summer Fusion, Dolores, everyone on YouTube, everyone on Facebook, Bob, Rena, Lewis, Robert, KK, my sister Kathy. I want some crawfish, Kathy. I'm coming back home just for crawfish. So tonight is Center of Light Space. Something happened last night. I've been saying my Yanava affirmations during the day, all the time, as I mentioned in the presentation a few nights ago. So often when I go into a space of not so funness, in contrast, I end up in a space of absolute blissfulness. Last night was sort of that way, but a little different. We're going to get to that shortly. Let's see what's happening. Tomorrow on Center of Light Radio, I have Elise and Nancy, who is going to grace us with their beautiful Reiki presence. 7 o'clock, Center of Light Radio. The control narrative. Those who look within themselves and stay focused and planted and responsible create a beautiful space in the most craziest of times. Those who look outside have no control, no choice whatsoever other than to be controlled by the outside. They have no joy whatsoever. If they do, it's very temporal and it flip-flops like a fish freshly caught and laid on the dock. It just bounces around, hoping it won't get eaten. Some fish can flop around enough and fall off the dock, and the fisherman just missed it. What is heaven? What is hell? Last night, I honestly couldn't tell. Beautiful story in the life of Keith. But I'm going to use it as an amazing teaching tool for me, because I really don't know what happens. I don't care to know. I just know what happens for me. I do this for you, for me, really for me, for you, for me. There's always a control narrative. Always a control narrative. Until we get to the levels where there's no more control narrative. But we're not there yet. So tonight is from two perspectives. The higher, where we just chill out, and the lower, where there's work to do, so we can get to the space of eternally chilling out and lift everyone with us. The control narrative. How long has it been going on? Some say it's been since the 60s, since Kennedy was assassinated, and some say a couple hundred years because of the Rosicrucians and all these people. I say it's been there since the very beginning, since the time of Jehovah. Jehovah. Is it possible that Jehovah is not who we think it is at all? Many researchers and scholars will tell you that is a very fact. Hello, Kim Smith. Many researchers and scholars will tell you that Jehovah was the one who infiltrated the system and wasn't God at all. It's an extraterrestrial lord, if you will. You can take me out of context. You can say this is the false light mentioned in scripture. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just asking to look at the narrative. The old world God, the First Testament, the Old Testament. Tempted Adam and Eve, be it literal or metaphorical, murdered, slaughtered endless people. Sodom and Gomorrah was one. The New Testament, Jesus Christ comes in and kicks the door wide open. What's changed? God didn't change. But the narrative did. So the first narrative was about control. I got you. You're in trouble. You violate, you will be punished. So the control narrative was from the very beginning. The fall from grace. Do your research before you come at me with this kind of finger. It doesn't matter to me if you do. I'll still love you regardless, or irregardless, as some people say. Do your research. You will see that the language, the dialogue, the dialect, everything is completely different. Hello, Claudia. All right, let's keep moving on. If I could grant you a space, if I can grant you something, if I can grant you a phenomenal space to be in, where you can have every and anything you've ever wanted, would you do it? Raise your hand if you're such a one. If I can grant you and simply pick you up and lovingly put you in a space where you can have any and everything you want forever, would you do it? Raise your hand if you're such a one. Hello, Mary Dawn Pofford. Payford, Pofford. Tomato, tomato. Potato, potato. Just say, I would. If I could grant you a space to be in where you can have everything and anything you've ever wanted forever, would you do it? Mary says, yes, I would. Fantastic. She says, the dawn has arrived. I love it. I'm great, Mary. Thank you. McHale. Mary McHale says she would do it. Anyone else jumping into the hunt? Robert says, I already have that space. Anybody else jumping into the hunt with both feet, head first, however you choose to dive off the hill? Mary Dawn Payford says, sure. All right. So now we can have any and everything we ever want. Chew on that carefully. But you owned up to it, and Claudia says, me too. All right, so let's keep moving forward. I ask you this question, and you can probably get the feeling that you were being set up. Hell is not what we think, but yet hell is exactly what we think. So what does this mean? And this ball of nonsense. Hell is not what we think it is. Think about hell and everything we were taught hell is to be. Right? So we call up all the nonsense. Hell is this, hell is that. It's everlasting torment in the earth, in the ground with the devil. He looks like a lizard, pitchfork, tail, all that stuff. So hell is not what we think it is. But yet, it's exactly what we think it is. So when I set you up by asking you the question, would you accept that space of having any and everything you want? Hell is exactly what we think it is. My experience last night on the level of the soul showed me that. It showed me that when I was in hell last night, there was no devil, and there was no pitchfork, and there was no tail, and there was no lizard being. So hell is not what we think it is. But hell is exactly what we think it is. So tonight we're going to look at things from two perspectives, higher and lower. Everything is going to, here are the two perspectives. Everything is going to be all right. And the other is, holy shit. The higher we chill, the lower, even in things that may happen. This is where we act to bring everyone higher. We can chill in the higher all we want. Nothing can affect my inner calm, my inner peace. That's true, and that is how it should be for one's spiritual expansion and integration. But what brings about a even greater, at the grassroots level, the base level, is still playing in the arena of the earth and grounding the energy of the higher, so that eventually everyone can graduate to the chill level versus the holy shit level. This is why we're all here. I see on social media people are taking the times that we're living in and using the names of God and Satan. Hello, Adana. The times we're living in, I see all over. You see it as well. People are using the names of God and Satan in the times that we're living in to describe, liberate, yet blame, shame, and game a figment that does not exist. God and Satan. Well, at least, and even in the way we think God to be, is a myth. We know nothing of the infinite, absolute, eternal of things. So in the way that we understand and or perceive them to be, there are both myths. So this is really about not God and Satan, because they have no involvement in the matter. Well, isn't Satan the one that tempts? We tempt ourselves so perfectly. We don't need to blame someone else. We just need to look in that very mirror and see it's our own responsibility. So this is really about liberation and control, or bliss and terror. You see, we are now walking in the land of infinite possibility. I went to hell last night. And in so doing, I found the most delicious space of a greater possibility of what I can know as heaven. Because it gave me perspective for self-realization. As Christ said, or as Christ did, he descended into hell for 3 days. And on the third day, he rose again in the resurrection and the Catholicism movement. We all go through our heavens and hells, and we all resurrect, erect, perfect, reject, eject, all the hells in our life. But the real trick, to use a word, for any spiritual ascetic, any spiritual seeker, I'm not speaking about those who dabble in spirituality. This can apply to religion, but any form of spirituality that just dabble on Sunday, or do this thing, whatever, and every once in a while. I'm speaking about a true lifestyle to where it's default, second nature. It's automatic pilot. You're the pilot that ascends to higher. It's called higher, but it's not really higher. In fact, it's more inner than anything, which gets wider in 360 degrees directions. But it's all on the head of a pin. Are you truly a seeker for the truth? Because truth is the measurement stick that will guide you always to eternal joy. So what is heaven and hell? Well, two people hanging out together, side by side, so much so they're almost touching. If I would have wore a coat on top of my clothes, we would be touching, kind of close. Can see the same thing go down and have completely two different experiences. Tonight is Center of Light, realization. What the hell? I have a story to tell when I return. Hello, Donald on YouTube. Mary Dawn, I'm going to get it right. Payford, I'm going to say it's Pafford. Material gain is not necessarily the goal of having everything one wants. Thank you for that, because this is part of an experience I had, which I will tell shortly, about things. Take a short pause, on break. Going to be right back. Welcome to Center of Light. Your descent into hell is your ascension into who you really are, which is the state of being. Heaven is not a place, it's a space, it's a state of being. God is not the supreme being, God is supreme being. And when we want to amalgamate with the truth and get out of any hell as we look around in our world today, I understand this image very powerfully, just like you. What the hell? The all-seeing big brother eye. Everything looks desolate, scorched, and burnt. Because we are desolate, scorched, and burnt. It hurts. How long do we choose to stay in hell? It's everyone's individual choice. So we stay around just a little bit longer to use our actions, our muscle, and our voice to lift our brothers and sisters out of the mire, the burnt. And when we have learnt that, we have done our task. We have contributed to the world, and now we can exit, or rather enter. We exit by entering. We stay around just long enough till we feel that we've done our part and then some. And then you owe it to yourself to check out, rather check in. Motel 6. We'll leave the light on for you. I'll see you shortly.
Making one of 100 million pieces, making one of each and every heart, giving one love like you really mean it, seeing one in each other every day. Loving one is how to get to heaven. Sharing one, the love that you are. Hearing one, that little voice inside. Being one with all the people. Teaching one all the children about love. they see it, lifting one to dwell in the kingdom, dwell in the kingdom, sending one only thoughts of happiness, receiving one love that's your gift. Think as one ends the separation. Being one saves the world. Teaching one all the children about love. Finding one your own peaceful heart. Causing one to feel peace too. And that's the way.
Officially bringing Jesus to the track. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the track. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the track. He's officially bringing the great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the track. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the track. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the track.
Welcome back to Center of Light tonight. It's Center of Light realization, self-realization. This self, me, I had a realization last night. And I want to share with you. Hopefully that it triggers something in you simply for an aha moment. Aha moments are eternal. They may last only this long, like a popcorn kernel, but they are eternal. Because in there is so much information. It's packed, it's full of light, power, and punch. There's your spiritual sustenance, your spiritual lunch. Crunch on that nugget. Tonight is Center of Light realization. What the hell? I asked you earlier an honest question. I did it intentionally to deceive you, really, more so set you up. Set this presentation up, set myself up, I am included, which was if I can offer you a space of you having everything you can possibly want, any and everything. like you, not only I'm going to raise my hand, I'm going to raise both hands and both feet and every appendage from this body to say, I'm so about that. In fact, my whole journey, my walk, my talk is that very answer. Yes. But the realization I had last night was, are you sure? And as Mary said earlier on YouTube, Dawn Pafford, I'm gonna get it right. It's not always about material things. I love things. We love things. This is what we are on the earth to experience. Things. But if that is the level and the end all of your seeking, it's shallow in the grand scheme of things. But even so, I like things. I like good food. I like living in a nice house. I like a nice, dependable, reliable automobile. Things. Good things. Things that are beneficial to do God's work on the earth. Claudia says it does sound like a trap. And I just caught this. The video just played with the lady outside. The great I am is bringing Jesus to the trap. How you like this little connection? I like things. We like things. People in our lives are things. They're bodies, some bodies, not some things, but it's applicable. So what is truly the difference between heaven and hell? Things can bring us great joy, but it's really not the things. It's the mirror reflection, the mirror imaging that happens from what we're giving the excuse of said things, our praise. That brand new Ferrari, oh my God, I'm grateful to God as to why one would be grateful for a brand new Ferrari, right? But in such a perverted way, believe it or not, it becomes the golden calf, the idol. Money, stability, all these things. So what is truly heaven and what is truly hell? No one can tell but yourself. But last night I fell myself into an atmosphere, is a good word, where I was shown, given, taken. Let me look at my notes so I can get my wits about me where we're going with this, because it's multi-layered. Welcome, y'all. Good to see you. I don't know if there are many Twilight Zone TV fans, but if you are one, check out, however you need to find it on the internet, episode number 28, A Nice Place to Visit. This totally encapsulates this presentation. Heaven or hell, I give you a space, I offer you a space that I could put you in of everything and anything you can ever possibly want. Your heaven, it's just your kingdom or queendom. This is your domain. Would you do it? I would. Last night I learned something a little, not different, but a little deeper, a lot deeper. I've been to hell. Our life on any level gone wrong is hell. But I've been to the metaphorical scriptural hell quite a few times. One, in present-eyed, open-eyed life with the experience that happened many years ago. We all go through these phases and these different things that teach us. In hindsight, we would never change it because it gave us so much wisdom. But I went to the spiritual hell quite a few times. Believe it or not, in my earlier years, my Catholic years, nothing against Catholicism, but in those years, I didn't want to be there. Who would want to be there? You wake up in cold sweats, you're trying to wake yourself up from within this dream, reality, experience. But now when it happens for me, it's not fun, don't get me wrong, until I realize who I am and the situation I am in. Then it's no longer about being in a troubled or fun situation at all. It's not that for me. It's like, this is a bunch of nonsense and I don't want to play anymore. You need to leave, and if you don't, I will dismiss you accordingly. I like hell. I do. In fact, I love going there. Because it teaches me so much. It teaches me, shows me, loves me actually, in such a teaching tool kind of way. Ironically, it shows me the way, which is not what I think is happening, but I am the happening one, and I am the one that is in control. Earlier tonight, a few times I said that it's always about a control narrative. Someone controlling you, or you controlling yourself. And is there a difference between the two? I like hell. There are lots of nice people there. Hi, Tammy. I always grow out of my guilt when I descend into hell. So at this juncture, am I really dwelling in hell? Or am I dwelling in the kingdom? So if my guilt that I revisit in a hell state becomes the catalyst for my heavenly bliss, what state am I really in? You know, we can call this Tennessee, Memphis. We can call this South Haven, Mississippi. But what if I straddle my legs across this imaginary line? Where does the truth actually begin and or end? So last night, I found myself in that very space I offered to you. If you can have any and everything you ever want, would you do it? And I raised my hand, because I am no different. I raised my hand so much so that I had this experience last night, that I involved myself in this amazing soul level transition. I was able to submerge myself in my pleasures. I have a brand new Ferrari, and it's blue, and everyone looks at my brand new Ferrari. I love my Ferrari. I'm grateful to God for this Ferrari, but in some way it becomes God itself. So when do we begin to lose sight of the Ferrari is truly a manifestation of God, or the Ferrari is God? So that's the difference. My brother Bob says, sanctuary. Everyone needs a space of their own. So I indulged myself in guilty pleasures last night. And I realized I started feeling guilty for indulging in pleasure. So I began to work with these energies consciously. And I fell into an experience where everything I wanted, I didn't wish for. I just had it. When I became conscious, there were people all around celebrating, living, being. Things were moving. Nice warm day. I just found myself walking into what would be considered a high value, high dollar restaurant. And I had the most expensive things, not because I'm trying to show how rich I am. It's because I have such resource that I wanted to treat myself and eat myself into a state of This is luxury, and I deserve it because I am a king or a queen of my dumb, my king or queendom. And I didn't think about this Ferrari outside of the restaurant after I had my belly full. Let me manifest a Ferrari. I just knew that when I walked outside of the restaurant, that I pulled these keys out of my pocket, and I started this Ferrari and I left, and I was just living the good life, the really good life, like the most amazing heaven on earth kind of experience any of us would want for ourselves, however that story is told for you. I'm using these images as a way to say, we like things. We like the way things make us feel. And so as I'm in this experience and people are moving about, I could do anything I wanted. I was absolute royalty. And it wasn't from a cocky point of view. It was from a factual point of view. I even pinched some girls on their ass and a few other things because I could do what I want. I was in my heaven, my domain. I could create flying machines or be in them, just whatever I wanted. And then eventually someone walked up to me and asked me the question. Sounds like heaven, or at least Keith's heaven. It was. Until, how could things go wrong? I could play pool. You want to play billiards? Sure. And I start off and I hit the ball once and all the balls go in the pockets. I win immediately. That's heaven, right? Just kind of the model we live. Until someone came up to me, a being, and said, "Hey Keith, how are you liking this new space you've created?" I said, "I'm loving it. Is this heaven?" And the being responded, "I don't know, Keith. You created it. What do you think?" And I said, "Yes, I think so. How long can I stay here?" This is where heaven changed into something else. You ready for this? Is this heaven? I don't know, Keith. You created it. What do you think? Yes, I think so. How long can I stay here? And the response was, as long as you like. Still sounds like heaven, doesn't it? Until the next part says, in fact, you can never leave. Do you understand that? It's heaven. It was for me. Until I was told, you can never leave, ever. Should it matter? I get everything I want. That sounds good on paper until it's presented to you. How long can I stay in this heavenly space of getting every and anything I want? Forever, if that's what you choose. In fact, you can never leave. Then it becomes not freedom and liberation to have any and everything you want. At the grass base root level, it becomes manipulation and control. Why isn't that we can have everything we ever want and leave even any and everything we ever want, to even fall into the experience of, I feel like I lack everything I could ever want? That is true liberation. So heaven, in this regard, is absolute hell. Because you can have everything you ever want, but is it truly everything you ever really need to escape the matrix of the human knucklehead sandwich conundrum? I had everything when I was sleeping last night. And I woke up to realize I didn't want anything but myself. We all know this, but speaking for me as a testimony, I got it on a very much deeper level. That heaven and hell is actually a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of nonsense. There is no heaven and there is no hell. Keith, what? I get it. But there is no heaven and there is no hell. All there is you. Are you choosing the descriptive term of heaven or the descriptive term of hell as your state of reference, your state of being? Are you seeing what I didn't see last night? I didn't see it until last night. I didn't see it. It all looked delicious. And I wanted not only samples, I was given amples of amounts, and it didn't amount to anything. This is paralleled, likened to, likewise, what's happening now in 2022. This image perfectly describes, it's not a bad affirmation. Just because things are always high or always low, it doesn't mean that they're either forever. We look at this image. I don't know, what do you see when you look at this? Horrible things? I do see that as well. Desolation, destruction, the game is over. I see that. But I also see the contrast, the beautiful spiritual eye that is born out of the hope that such a horrible image inspires. That's where we are. The world is dead. It's burnt. It's transient. It's gone. It stinks from the burn. And when we learn, hell becomes heaven and heaven becomes hell. Because the things that we think that we need to invigorate us, vibrate us, resonate us, they will work. Short intervals, long intervals. Eventually, the cycle will repeat itself to where it goes back into the lull, back into the dull. But the way to go back into the full is to realize what is coming in this time we're living in. This is what it comes down to. This time we're living in is to reveal to all of us hell. That's the purpose. That's the point of the Christ teaching. Jesus descended into hell 3 days to again rise, in the Catholic religion. And whatever religion, it's all the same idea. It's purposeful. We fall into hell, at least for a spell, to get a good taste of it, a good sample, then elevate through the nonsense. So as the Christ principle, the children of the Christ, the Christians, we can follow the teacher out of the quagmire. But pleasure is a very powerful thing. It's a very well-deserved thing. I've always lived my life. Here's a line. Not rules, not judgment, just a line that creates balance, self-control, but yet self-expression. I can play on this side of the line. I can play on this side of the line. But when I begin to play on both sides of the line too far, I get myself into trouble. So as the Buddhists say, it's always the middle way. It's always the balance. It's the center point, the Sacred Heart of Christ, so forth and so on. It's always the heart. The heart doesn't lie. The heart doesn't fib. It doesn't tell stories. That's all mind stuff. But in the story, there's a glory, and in the glory, there's a story. So what is coming in 2022 is hell. The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for his soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind, and he was willing to make a deal. He said, boy, let me tell you what. My name's Johnny, and it might be a sin. I'll take your bet, you son of a bitch. I'm the best that's ever been. So, rosin up your bows and play your fiddles hard, because the devil is broke loose in Georgia. And Satan deals the cards. If you win, you get this shiny fiddle made of gold. But if you lose, the devil will get your soul. The devil can never get your soul. Never. It's impossible. How so? Not only does God own your soul is God. So, heads up. Things are starting to collect, converge, emerge, submerge, seduce, abuse. In the mainstream, the new bullshit, starting on the West Coast, the Northwest Coast in Washington. Learn of it. Make yourself aware. See it for what it is. Process it. And turn this hell into heaven. Because if you don't, any heavens that we think we can have will fall like castles in the air, and they will turn into hell. So we're in this crazy, redonkulous, the universe, if you will, making heads or tails of itself through us, because we're the composites of all the different components on every possible level, from the most integrated at the soul level, Yanava, to the outer rings of what we can ever see through scientific technology we call research and space telescopes. So this whole thing is turning within itself. It's the in and out breath of God. So is the in breath, and Ham is the out breath. So what's happening? We are in this bellowing, breathing, guffawing. The universe is understanding itself. It's not that God is not intelligent and it needs us. This is simply a game that we are playing out that makes sense to us as we begin to integrate things that we just simply can't begin to understand until we do the work. In closing, when, as you go out, rather stay in, go out in your life, stay inward, reflect it, stay in yourself in such a way that you're just anchored there. Now, things will come along in the world. It'll bump you. You go to an amusement park and you ride the bumper cars. People you don't see behind you will bump you in the car. You turn around and go, ha ha, you got me. Trust me when I tell you, you don't want too many ha ha ha, you got me's. Because the energy is ramping. The Lord is awakening on the earth. The revelation, the Bible says. The awakening of the Lord. The one that casts judgment on our sins, said differently in a softer, tamer way, that shows the shadows because of its illumination of light. It's called revelation. Hell and heaven are the same place because our understanding or lack of what we think actual heaven is or actually hell is, it's been shattered. It's been lost. It doesn't matter anymore. Don't lose yourself any further into the conundrum. Find yourself and you will find everything. You can play the game of life. The more things you collect, when you try to take that stuff with you when you lay your body down, you will be carrying a heavy load when you want to be light. Light. So as Mary and I mentioned a little earlier, things are beautiful, but they will weigh you down. In the game of life, the race of life, we move towards a future timeline, hoping to collect a lot of things, the game of life, the rat race, to try to outdo or beat everybody. John Doe, Joe Doe, the Joneses. And it weighs us down. When I had a dreaming experience many years ago, I was in such a race. I was in hell, or playing a game on a game show. The race of life. And it was my turn. And I had a few other people in front of me. They up 3, 2, 1, ready, set, go. And we all started running down the pathway to a mansion. And down this pathway were all these things: money, coins, jewels, diamonds, anything you can grab while you're running. And I did my share of grabbing, though I beat a lot of other people into the castle. A lot of other people beat me. But in this castle, it was heaven. I tell you, it was heaven. And I did collect some things and bring some things with me. It was heaven. Until it became not heaven. And there was these demons with their control narrative trying to keep me there by spinning me ongoingly into illusion. And I would physically battle these demons. I was in the experience long enough to know that physically battling these demons, at least what I thought was physicality in these experiences, wasn't working. Then I tried other tactics and got successful and got successful and got successful. And then I realized one thing that was helping me escape this labyrinth of never-ending nonsense was those things I collected along the driveway, trying to collect as I got to the castle. When I started letting them go, I began to get my footing, my grounding, my balance. And when I thought I'm about to break out of this heavenly, at first it was, evil nonsense place, when I was at that dun 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 Big Daddy, devil, if there is such a thing, icon, archetype, shows up itself. But I feel powerful. I just kicked a whole bunch of demons' ass. In the Catholic days, it wouldn't have got that far. I would have woke up in sweats. And so, when when Grandmaster himself shows up, I realize that I let go of all of my possessions and accepted the fact that I chose to be there. I chose to play the game, to run down the driveway all the way to the mansion. I chose to involve myself in a game. And when I realized that when I was told you can never leave, that I believed that I can never leave, because I was deceived by all the beautiful objects that were floating in front of my face like a carrot. I believed it. I believed the whole story. You can't leave. I was like, oh my God, this was heaven, until I realized I couldn't leave. That's my liberation we're speaking about. Likewise, when I relieved myself from believing I can never leave. I can leave. You can leave. You can change your agreement with reality. The noise is about to start. The devil is about to show himself. Metaphorically, literally, it doesn't matter. The demon, equally, God, the demon, heaven, hell, the same two places, because you are the same two faces. It's you. Always trust in the Lord. Who is the Lord? Look in the mirror. Dear Lord, look in there, so much so until you find it, because we know that God lives within. And then when we live within God, everything's perfect. You are perfect in every way. See you soon. Peace, love, and light. Take care of those around you. Be strong. The world needs you.